What's going on? All right, so I noticed a couple people were saying that they were having a hard time hearing me last time. So before I get knee deep into this, I want to make sure that everyone can hear me okay. I'm actually, I turned it up. So hopefully, now the interesting thing is I go back and I'm listening to it and I'll play it on my mobile device and I can hear it just fine. So it leads me to believe that people are getting blocked with the audio. Maybe there's an audio algorithm or something like that that's taking place. I don't know. But hopefully I turned it up a lot more this time. I actually did. And hopefully this will, help the issue out for people who's having a hard time hearing it. Because I want you to be able to hear and I don't want to make it difficult. So anyways, thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you care, if I can get you to, please hit the share button on this. Please like, follow, subscribe. Please like, follow, subscribe if you would. I would greatly appreciate it. All right, let's see. I think we're ready, good, and go here. Okay, yep. Okay, cool. Okay, so there's a couple of things that I want to talk about. First of all, I want to talk about, of course, we have to talk about this, and a lot of you may not even know about this. I don't know. But Mike Pence has docs, or he has some documents, some classified documents. And he called the DOJ and the FBI. And I'm not sure how the story went, but they're saying that Mike Pence found the documents, then he put them in the safe. Or some reports are saying that documents were already in the safe. So I don't know which one it is. The point is he had these classified documents, but this comes on the heels of him criticizing President Trump. I don't know if y'all recall that, but he was actually criticizing President Trump for having documents, right? So let me share this with you. This was on Fox News where they're actually talking about
former
Mike
Vice
Pence.
President.
Oh, not yet. They're on here talking about Mike Pence with these documents and how Mike Pence was, basically criticizing President Trump. So let me share some of this with you.
Former Vice President Mike Pence found a small number of, we think it's about 12, classified documents in a search of his home. Apparently, they were kept in a locked safe.
Yeah.
It's not just former Vice President, now President Biden. This thing seems to be some sort of contagion.
Well, I was glad to hear Peter say that the Bush transition went pretty well, or there's none been found there. I participated in that and have seen this process. And I can tell you clearly the process is broken. In this transition, when you're going from one presidency to another and the president and the vice president have documents in their offices, in their possession, and we've got to take a hard look at GSA and how they and the intelligence community pack these documents, get them to wherever the president, vice president's going. That's one thing, John. But I think the difference with Biden here is just how long this goes back to what you're hearing in the Senate. I could tell you we're within a room, within a room, within a room. I really want to see what type of documents were exposed here. I find it disturbing that the White House is not confirming that a review from the intelligence community is actually happening. Because at the end of the day, it's not the number of documents, it's the quality of the documents.
I'm curious
not the quantity.
I'm curious as to why the former Vice President Pence, decided to look now as opposed to after the document scandal hit with former President Trump at Mar-a-Lago. In terms of...
But I'm thankful, though, that he had the FBI there and they took possession. And I think that's another difference that people are pointing to. Apparently with President Biden, it was a negotiation, and they still haven't even gone to his beach home where he stayed.
Yeah, so they haven't even gone to his beach home. And to my understanding, that some of the rooms, Joe Biden said that the FBI could not even go in. Right? Like you can go in this room, but you can't go in that room. You can go down this hallway, but you can't go in the attic. Did they give the same courtesy to President Trump? I don't think so. Because if that was the case, they wouldn't have gone through Melania Trump's underwear. And they wouldn't have gone through President Trump's son room. Right? This was them sending a message to Trump. Because the FBI wanted to go after President Trump. Now, he mentioned Peter Doocy. Listen to what Peter Doocy says, because if I'm not mistaken, this is the one where they bring up the video clip where they're talking about Mike Pence making the statement, basically bashing President Trump about having these classified documents. But he had documents himself. So doesn't this make Mike Pence a hypocrite?
How's Mike Pence explaining the documents that were found at his home in Indiana, Peter?
Johnny says that a team of his lawyers found these documents at home last week, but it's more than a month after he said that he didn't have any.
I've not hesitated to criticize the president when I think he was wrong. And clearly possessing classified documents in an unprotected area is not proper.
It's not proper, right? Remember, he said that. There it is right there. Pence said that. Mike Pence said that. And Mike Pence was saying that because he tried to make sure that people were discredited. He was going along with the whole thing of trying to discredit President Trump. That's what that was about. He was trying to discredit President Trump, and he's like, yeah, this is just not proper, not proper. Well, he's guilty of the same thing. Well, actually, it's not even the same still. Again, and you know what? I saw Hannity, and he was actually talking about how Mar-a-Lago, all the documents that were there, the FBI knew exactly what was there. So all of them trying to compare what the FBI did and what the docs that President Trump had, this is no comparisons. Mike Pence should have never had them. Joe Biden should have never had them. Hunter Biden should have never had them. All of these docs they're trying to make the comparison when there isn't one. There is not one. Okay, I think I have one. Okay, I can keep going on about the docs, but I'm going to go to about this here. I want to talk about this. This was from today, and I don't know. So they're asking Karine Jean-Pierre about these docs. They're asking her about the docs. Now, it's so idiotic because she's the press secretary. They're asking her questions about stuff that's being reported in the news, and her being the press secretary, she's supposed to answer these questions, but she doesn't want to answer the questions. She keeps deflecting. Listen.
Mr. Comey, he wrote the head of the Secret Service asking for the visitor information from Wilmington. Now, I know you said there's no visitor logs, but do you have any objection, or does the White House have an objection to the Secret Service providing any documents or communication about who's going in and out?
Again, I would refer you to the White House counsel's office on anything that's related to the investigation, the oversight hearing that's happening.
And then just at the top, in response to the Pence question, you said you weren't going to comment on any ongoing criminal or other investigations. Is there any reason to believe any of these are criminal investigations?
I'm just saying I'm just not going to comment on any type of investigation. The Department of Justice is independent, and we just don't comment on any investigations from here.
Basically, don't ask me any questions about that. We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it at all because, more documents just came out this past Friday. And, y'all seen a video clip where Peter Doocy was asking her, said, what four-letter word did you say after the news that came out that they found more docs, right? And she laughed because she was like, oh, my goodness. And there's probably a couple of four-letter words that she probably said. She probably said more than one because she doesn't want to have to address it. She doesn't want to have to talk about it because she's not good at this job in the first place. Now, here's something that I really want to talk about, and this is something that the federal government is doing, and they're trying to come and disarm every single American in this country that want to be able to defend themselves. They don't do all of this talk because they want to go after criminals. They don't even talk about applying the laws on the book. All they want to do is disarm the law-abiding citizen. That's the most disturbing thing about all of this. They say, well, we need to do more. We need to do more. Well, apply the laws that are on the book. Just apply the law. But they don't want to do that. They want to go after you, the law-abiding citizen. Now, listen to this. There's a reporter, and this reporter is from Africa, apparently. And this reporter has the nerve, the audacity to come to America. I guess she lives in America now, because she talks about her kids in this clip. And now she's here wanting America to follow and do the same implementation of gun laws as they are in Africa. I have one thing to say about that. If you don't like the laws in America, you don't like our Constitution in America, and you're from Africa, What's the saying? Go back to Africa. And I'm a black man saying it. I don't care if you're from Australia, because Australia have similar gun laws that we don't want here in America either. Now, I know there's a lot of wonderful people in Australia and there's a lot of wonderful people in Africa. But if you don't like what it is, what's happening in America, you don't like our laws in America, you don't like the Constitution, then go back to Australia. Go back to Europe. We don't want you here trying to change our laws. This is the U.S. Constitution we're talking about. And she's asked, Karine Jean-Pierre has asked this question about how come Biden this doesn't do more. They wanted Biden to do an executive order. That's what it really comes down to. Listen to this.
Yes, Karine, on gun violence, it's very clear to everybody that gun is a problem in this country. I'm going to give you an example. In Africa, when we see news from the U.S., like a 6-year-old boy bringing gun to school, and we see people going to the movie theater being killed by gun, and also seeing people in this country that have not seen war but are killed by gun is extremely scary for us. And we have seen that this country is very developed. What do you think is preventing the Congress to act when it comes to gun control? And what can more President Biden do to move on and do something to control the gun? And my question comes because I'm a mother. I have 2 daughters, and when they go to school, sometimes I'm afraid that maybe his little colleague from school will bring a gun, or even in random place, we get shot. This is very, very scary, and this is a problem, and we saw recently people also dying by gun. What can President do more to move on and control the guns? And please, what do you think the Congress is waiting to act?
So
let me stop it before Karine Jean-Pierre interjects in here. And the first thing that she should say, well, here in the United States of America, we have this thing called the U.S. Constitution. And because of the U.S. Constitution, people can own and bear arms. They can own firearms. That's the way the U.S. Constitution is. The Democrats, they don't care about the Constitution. They want to do away with it. They've already made clear that they hate the U.S. Constitution. They only use it when it's to their advantage. But this lady sitting here talking about, well, in Africa, well, then go back to Africa. I mean, it's not even a racist term here, right? There's nothing racist about it. Go back to Africa. Seriously, if you're afraid of being here in America, then go back to Africa. And she also makes another point that America is highly, very well developed. But we have guns. Imagine that. How is that even possible? How is America so civilized, but yet we have all these guns? How is America not on fire and burning, except for Georgia right now, but we have guns, right? If it was up to the left, only Antifa would have guns because the police officers wouldn't have guns. Only the criminals would have guns if it's up to the left. And now they want to come after every single weapon that you own in this country. Mao Zedong did it. Hitler did it, right? All of them did it in the past. All of them. Stalin did it. You've had all these tyrants in the past that disarmed the people, and once they disarmed the people, then they implemented all this tyranny. We pay attention to history. We don't want to repeat history. That's the most frustrating thing about this. And Karine Jean-Pierre, she should know better. She should automatically say, well, here in the United States of America, we have the U.S. Constitution. And because we have the U.S. Constitution, people can bear arms to protect their lives. That's what it really comes down to. I can't stand when people come to America and they want to change our laws to fit their needs or fit their country when they can just go back to their country. What in the world?
when it relates to the Congress, you have to ask Congress. You have to go over to Congress and meet with congressional members and ask them that very question. Lay it out just the way that you laid it out to me. I think it's an important question for them to answer. But also, we saw last night Senator Feinstein, along with Senators Murphy and Blumenthal, reintroduce the assault weapons ban, which we support and we encourage for.
I didn't know Senator Feinstein is still alive. It's like she comes out the woodworks to talk about gun control, right? Other than that, you don't hear nothing from her. But she has time to talk about gun control.
Congress to act on that piece of legislation. Look, again, I would suggest you go talk to them about this. Look, you just laid out what I just said, right? You just laid out about going to the movie theaters and being worried about gun violence. You just laid out about being a parent and worrying about your child going to school, or going to the grocery store and worried about gun violence.
Well, what about those of us that are worried about Antifa and BLM showing up at their homes? You remember the couple where BLM and Antifa showed up at their homes and they were going to burn their home down, but they came out with weapons to defend themselves, defend their property? Do you remember that? But that was a problem. See, that's exactly it. They don't want you to be able to defend yourself. This is like history repeating itself all over again.
Something that we should not have to deal with. And this is something, again, if you look at the president's record as a senator, you look at his first 2 years as president, he's dealt with this issue. And he's going to continue to do what he can from here, use the tools of the federal government to take action. He has taken historic executive actions, as I just laid out moments ago. But when it comes to really, truly dealing with this issue, we need legislation.
You hear this? See, I'm telling you, if they could, I'm willing to bet that they already have an executive order written up. I'm willing to bet that they already have it, and they would love for him to sign it. But if he were to sign it, they know it would cause disruption in the country. So now they're trying to get both Republicans and Democrats to jump on board to disarm the American people. This comes on the heels of the WEF and the United Nations wanting to take over the United States of America. This comes on the heel of them actually crippling our economy. This comes on the heels of all of that. So why would anyone go along with that? And then the ATF can't make any laws, and I put it out there, and I've talked about it on Twitter and other places, talking about the ATF, and people go, the ATF can't make up any laws. And I said, I agree, and nor can the Supreme Court, but they keep doing it, right? They keep doing it. So now they're talking about taking away your short barrel rifle, which is the AR-15, and that is like one of the best, if not the best, home defense, especially for ladies, especially for women. I encourage every woman to be able to protect yourself, because these tyrants, at some point, they're going to come. Because you don't comply with the wokeness, because you're a Christian, they are coming.
We need legislation. We need Congress to act. So we are thankful and we are hopeful to see what occurred with this legislation that was introduced, again, by Senators Feinstein, Blumenthal, and Murphy. And we're going to continue to encourage Congress to act. But I would pose the question that you just asked me to Congress. Okay.
Just a follow-up quick, still on gun violence. We have spoke, between me and some friends, that in this country, and this, I'm making this point because we need to remind people that America is the only country on earth that people die by gun without even being in war. Because I'm giving this example because in Africa there is countries in war, but people doesn't even have access to gun. It's very hard because the government and everybody is very conscious that the guns can cause a lot of destruction. But in this country, it's very normal for everybody to have access to gun, and this needs to be controlled. But what can people like me, common people, what can we do to help control gun?
Have y'all heard about the genocide towards white people in Africa? Have y'all heard about that? Not a single time did they talk about this in the press conference. Not a single time did this woman bring up that fact. What she just said made me think about the genocide against white people, specifically white farmers in Africa, in South Africa. It was total genocide. As far as I know, it's still going on, right? Because they don't report it to us here. And she, from what I'm gathering, she wants to implement the same thing here, because soon as they disarm you, just like every time in the past, what have they done? This is known history, which again, they want to change history. They don't want people to know the truth. They don't want people to know. Now listen.
In this country.
Well, look, what I can speak to, there are many ways that people can get involved in dealing with the gun violence that we're seeing here. I'm not going to make any suggestions, but there are ways that folks can go out there and participate in a way that's healthy, in the way that actually helps deal with a real issue. What I can speak to is what the president has done. What I can speak to is what the president believes. What I can speak to is the president's record on this, which is you can see for yourself as a senator this last 2 years as president in the executive actions that he's taken. He signed.
You hear this? Executive actions. There it is. Executive actions. I'm telling y'all, I'm willing to bet that they have an executive order right now just waiting for him to sign it. And I'm surprised because he's so incompetent. I'm surprised they just hadn't put it on his desk and said, go ahead and sign this one, sign this one, sign this one. And they said, well, and then just release it later on that, hey, he's done an executive order that you cannot own an assault pistol. Y'all have heard that one? You cannot own an assault pistol. What in the world? I'm telling you right now, if y'all don't think that we're living in an age of tyranny with these people, what they're trying to get ready to implement on all of us, you can't tell me that they're not doing it. Look how corrupt the FBI is. Look how corrupt the DOJ is. And now the ATF, completely corrupt. How long has the National Archives been corrupt? How long has the CIA been corrupt, right? Spy organization. We know that these organizations, these federal organizations are all corrupt, but we're supposed to just ignore all of that. They're coming for us, and I'm not here fear-mongering. I'm telling you, I'm just showing you. I'm telling you what they're doing. They're the ones saying it. They're the ones saying it. I'm not making it up.
A bipartisan piece of legislation, as I just mentioned moments ago, to deal with, in taking one step to deal with gun violence. And so, look, that's what I can speak to. That's what we can talk about very clearly. And we are going to continue to discuss and have the conversation and call on Congress to act. All right, go ahead.
And as they're going to call on Congress to act. Right. They're going to call on Congress to act. And I'm telling you, they want to get both Republicans and Democrats to get on board about disarming the American people. Now they have this whole thing talking about the assault pistol. What in the world is that? And then they go, well, the assault rifle. Well, what is an assault rifle? They don't even know the definition of assault rifle because it's not an AR-15. It's not. An AR-15 is not an assault rifle, right? But they don't know. And they take that information, and because a lot of people don't know, they put it out there. Oh, what is an AR-15 then, you ask? AR means Armalite rifle. You didn't know that, did you? It means Armalite rifle. I encourage everyone to Google it if you don't believe me. Armalite rifle, not assault rifle. That's the left because they don't know, and they do a play on words trying to convince everybody else that they know what's truth and what's not true. They do this on purpose. They do it on purpose. Let me give you another example on what they do on purpose, how they lie to the American people and how they try to convince everybody that they are the ones who's doing everything that's right. What's the situation of our economy? What's the state of our economy right now? What is the situation? It's not pretty. It's not great. It could be a lot better, right? Well, look at this one with Joe Biden, where he's talking about who is destroying the economy, or he's going to prevent a certain group of people from destroying the economy when they've already done it. Listen to this.
I have no intention of letting the Republicans wreck our economy, nor does anybody around this table, in my view.
He has no intention on allowing the Republicans to wreck the economy. When did the Republicans start wrecking the economy? The Republicans have been there, 20 days now? 20 days, almost a month, coming on a month, right? They've been there 20 days. And you mean to tell me that the Republicans are already trying to wreck the economy? The Republicans don't want wokeism. That's all the Democrats have been doing. And it's because of the economy, it's because of the Democrats. And because the Republicans control the House, they're trying to flip it and blame all of the stuff that's been happening on the Republicans, just like clockwork. Just like clockwork. Let me share this with you. Now, this pertains to the title of my broadcast tonight, because I've been talking about how Christianity is under attack, and I've been talking about how they're using different talking points, and they're trying to say that Christians, true believers in Christ, are the problem. And there's been more and more attacks on Christianity. And a lot of people are still not figuring it out. There's been more and more attacks on Christianity. But the liberal media, they don't talk about it because they're complicit with it. Fox News, they're actually talking about it. Listen to this report on Fox News about Christianity.
Vandalism is on the rise as houses of worship are targeted by activists. Since May 2020, there have been at least 278 attacks reported against Catholic churches, with more than 120 of those incidents taking place after the Supreme Court draft leak of last year. Fox News contributor Raymond Arroyo joins us now to react. Good morning to you, Raymond.
Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning. What's your reaction and why is this happening?
Well, I think it started with Dobbs, as you mentioned there. And the other part of it is pop culture. You know, you have a combination here of people being motivated by a diminishment of holy images, holy people, the doctrines of basic Christian teaching. All of that has been diminished in the pop culture. I mean, I just saw a cover of a Vanity Fair with Madonna on it, impersonating Our Lady of Sorrows. So the pop culture treats the Mother of God like a cheap pop singer, and we treat a cheap pop singer like the Mother of God. This is a problem. And what it teaches us subtly, in small ways and large ways, is that these holy images, these places of worship, things we revere or were once held as sacred, are no longer so. And then you couple that with a political establishment saying this church, these churches are standing in the way of progressive politics and your freedoms, particularly the autonomy over your body, abortion, that becomes a toxic brew, and I think that's what we're seeing here. I mean, I just read a story, Ainsley, a man just a week ago in Woodbury, New Jersey. He attacked 3 Catholic churches, one after another, tried to burn a cross, broke windows. I mean, there is something odd that is happening here, a phenomena that's not being reported, and I think it's a combination of people who believe it's correct to desecrate and defile houses of worship as a means of political protest. That is not acceptable and can't be acceptable in our republic.
No, it shouldn't be acceptable. But they accept it because it's Christianity. They accept it because it's towards Christ. You notice they don't do this to any other religion. Y'all notice that, right? They don't vandalize stuff like this when it comes to any other religion. Why? Because Christianity is a soft target. They know that Christians, true Christians, are forgiving. True Christians are compassionate. And they know true Christians won't retaliate because they know that we as true Christians, we allow God to fix stuff, right? For the most part, you know what I'm talking about. Now, if you come and breaking someone home, you know, God help you. Okay, let's keep it real. You breaking somebody's home, God help you, right? But this attack on Christianity is growing, and I've said it multiple times, and the reason why it's growing is because majority of the people in this country are white and they're Christian. And of course, they don't say Christianity out in the mainstream media for the most part, but they do say white people. Because white people, majority of the white people in this country are Christian, and they want to remove Christianity altogether. They say Christianity is a major problem. Listen to this one.
We're talking about arson, broken windows, decapitated statues. Kamala Harris, our vice president, tweeted this out. You can keep your faith and still support abortion. What do you say to that?
Well, you know, Ainsley, she also tweeted out just yesterday that this other movement, the pro-life movement, is run by extremist so-called leaders. Now, that's toxic language. And this is what I'm saying. It's a perfect storm in many ways. Last year, we had 240 FBI hate crimes that were religiously motivated. And I worry that this hot political rhetoric and labeling faithful Christian people, ministers, pastors, rabbis, and priests as somehow extremist leaders, that is a problem and should be decried from both right and left. It's not right. If you disagree on policy, but you don't demonize people who believe deep deeply and faithfully in the gospel as has been passed down to us for generations, that somehow those are extremist beliefs. Argue on the facts and the merits. Stop demonizing people. It leads to very bad ends.
Well, maybe, I'm not sure. Maybe he doesn't understand. The reason why they're demonizing Christians is because the demons hate Christianity. That's the reason why they're doing that. And the Bible is completely clear about in the last days how they will be persecuting Christians. So if you publicly announce that you are a Christian and you believe in Christ, then know this, that you are going to be subject to their persecution. I publicly say it every single day. Every single day. Every time you see me, a lot of people, I'm not a pastor, I'm not a preacher, a deacon or anything. I'm just like you. I'm just a simple person who sees what's happening, but I have no qualms about acknowledging my belief in Christ. None at all. I would never, ever go where I reject Christ. I would never, ever do that. Never. And they're not going to get me to do it, right? Because they're trying to push a message out there to prevent people from saying that they believe in Christ. And again, especially the atheists, well, the God is not even real. Then why they spend so much time talking about God, right? Why they spend so much time? That's what I don't understand. Okay, so I have one more thing that I want to share with y'all. And for those of y'all that want to see it, you're going to have to jump over on my Rumble account because I cannot share it I most definitely can't share this one on Facebook and YouTube. I can't do it. I could, but I would get in trouble, right? Let me say thank you to Glenda for sharing it. Thank you so much, Glenda, for sharing the Facebook. Sherry, thank you so much for the stars. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Joseph, Alice, Sylvia, Lisa, Ruby, Deborah, Renee, Gina, Jesse, Bruce, thank you so much as well for sharing the video. Thank you so much. Cindy, thank you as well for sharing. It really means a lot. Thank you so much. Have y'all noticed something on Facebook? How many of y'all got a notification on Facebook? Because someone told me earlier that they believe that they've been turning notifications off. And I don't know if they turn notifications off on conservative Christians or what. But one person said that they turned off notifications and like they don't know what's going on because they're not getting notifications for anything, or they're getting notifications 2 and 3 hours later, or sometimes even the next day, which is really bizarre. So I'm just kind of curious. Leave me a comment. I'm going to go back through on Facebook and look at the comments later on. And for everyone on YouTube, thank you so much for being there as well. I really do appreciate it. And again, for those of y'all that are going to join me over on Rumble to see this next video clip, it's all about Christianity as well. It's about what's happening in our world and how the demonicness is taking over the minds of people. I'm going to show you actual proof of what I've been talking about. So if you want to see that, if you want to see it, join me over on my Rumble account, which you see there on the screen. Join me on my Rumble account. All right, I'm going over there right now. I'm already there. But for what I'm going to show you next, I can't show on the other platforms. And most people understand why. Some people get upset because I leave the other platforms